Extensive firewall security, Microsoft Teams voice-integrated communications, cybersecurity and IT support managed by experts. From productivity to peace of mind, Allo has a solution for that. Allo means business. Protect your business by visiting allofiber.com/business.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Play ball!
Tired of the same old routine? Then bring your crew out to Haymarket Park for a thrilling season of Lincoln Salt Dogs baseball and unleash the fun. Enjoy action-packed home games all week long from May through August. It's the perfect change-up to the typical family night or makes for a home run outing with friends and coworkers. Experience the magic and get in on the excitement. Visit saltdogs.com to secure your tickets now. Unleash the fun.
On the block with Strick and Austin.
There's that pit in my stomach. I hope that knot gets untangled and untied so that the Royals can be in contention for the playoffs come late August into September. I'm not holding my breath for it, but before I freak out and lose my mind about how bad things are right now, I'm going to choose to look back at last year and remember how bad 56 and 106 felt.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Live from the 93.7 The Ticket studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Inside the Huddle with Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Fires a pass, and it's intercepted by the Huskers at the 25, Jay Foreman. And Foreman takes it down to the 19-yard line of Oklahoma. Another big play by the Black Shirts.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging.
What up? Happy Sunday. This is Jay Foreman. Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. All your imaging needs, and we'll get you a detailed and clear path to hopefully some pain relief, which they've done for me at times and on a more consistent basis that I'd like. But it's the Sunday after 4th of July, Harrison, and obviously it was a pretty good holiday. I always say that 4th of July on a Thursday is a little tricky. Look, people love it because you get Friday off and you probably get Tuesday or Wednesday off. And the way the fireworks started via supposedly before July 1st, seems like everybody had a week off. But before we get into the fireworks that was took the internet over probably a little bit over 24 hours ago, how was your holiday?
It was good.
Good.
Got some much needed sun. Nobody lost any fingers. I think that's all you need on the 4th of July.
Yeah.
No, I was surprised. I don't know if you listened to Jeff and Nicole this morning though. Some sticklers about the fire. I guess up in Iowa, you're not allowed to just light them individually. You have to go to the shows, and not big fans of that.
Yeah.
Having to get up early, which a little unpatriotic, but each their own.
Yeah, I mean, it's Iowa, right?
That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, it's Iowa. No offense, it's Iowa. They did, they do things a little backwards. I think it's something you always got to say is that look, nobody, got injured, and obviously there, whether it's fireworks and people, I think either aren't being as cautious as they should, but let alone, let's not forget down there in South Padre Island, man, I think that young lady or young man, he got his calf bitten off by a shark.
Yeah, it can be wild.
Yeah, I mean, and I just think, now granted, they don't go together, but I just think holiday weekend, sometimes you can get caught up in the emotion and excitement, and then you could do things that you sometimes can regret. And fireworks is just part of 4th of July. I
did set a tree line on fireworks in my youth. Yeah, it's close. Almost lost the farm tree line there.
And here's the thing: is like sometimes my oldest, we did it. And we had one of those ones that, and I don't buy the big like M80s.
That's what I did it with. I had the little firebomb shooters and tipped over and shot it right into the woods.
See, we get a couple of those, but they're real like low level. Well, we had it, we set it up. She lit it on fire, and a wind gust as it went up, and it was one of those ones that just kind of shot off little ones. I was there, I had a drink in my hand. You look up, man, and this little thing coming at you. She was scared. So I mean, it's you just never know when they could go awry because I think also I would say this is the quality probably of the product is probably not as good as it because it's a huge business. I mean, and so you see, and that's just a part of the mass of fireworks, and I think it's a huge business. People spend a lot of money on it, and but there's a lot of good fireworks shows. I mean, look, I like the holiday, like to eat, grill and stuff. That's probably what probably more up my alley, and I don't mind watching it. One of my fondest memories probably in sports and in youth is out in when I was living in Frederick, Maryland. When I kind of really started liking basketball. We went to Thomas Johnson High School, and they were lighting them off, and they got all these courts, and we were playing on the blacktop. And I think it was the funnest part was, they had food and stuff, watch fireworks, and we played basketball all night. So 4th of July is a good holiday. I'm glad everybody had a good holiday, but obviously, Harrison, as we said last week, once July comes, it's on.
Yeah, what are we less than 50 days away now from week 0?
Yeah, but it's not even about week 0. It starts now because you're in training camp mode. And here's a funny thing, Harrison. You've seen me, and I mean, we've known each other, for a few years. I'm obviously significantly older than you, right?
You said it, not me.
Both in looks and the body. But I will tell you this. Every year in July, around this time, you get the same feeling in my body every year. And every football player will tell you, I'm sure guys that play baseball that are retired and they talk about spring training, basketball when they go in the camps or whatever, football is in the air. And people think it's just a cliche. No, it's like a sense that you get with the grass and all that stuff, and just the way your body is, programmed to. It's been programmed that way since I think I started playing football in 4th grade.
So do you feel like you need to start are you saying you get that mode like football's in the air, almost feel like you need to go start working out, or no, just like football's as a spectator? Or what are you trying to say?
Here's what I'm saying: your body starts, you feel it, okay, right? It's just you just know, like it's kind of like it's just like is this in your bodily routine, yearly routine. Now, what it means for me right now, Harrison, and here's the difference. About 6 or 7 years ago, every time it would start to hit, I would crank up the workouts, right? Subconsciously. Like
even if you're retired, you're just getting after it.
Like all right, let's it's just like all right, let's start to get after it, right? So I would start, you'd work out a little bit longer, instead of it being 45 minutes, it might be an hour and a half.
No wonder Dr. Razdan's got some work for you.
But it's not like I'm jumping off boxes, but it's just
you feel it.
The intensity starts to crank up. And it's something that I would consciously do and then subconsciously do. And that was just it's just an itch, right? It's like it's like I said, it's like a wolf sense. You just have this itch, right? That was 6 years ago. Now I still have the itch. I just don't crank up the workouts. So, but it's just part of your my natural body clock. And so what I'm saying is football's in the air. You can't turn around it. You can't turn away from it. And, we talked about last week what it means. The hay's in the barn right now. Now, are you still working out hard? Sure. Right. But your focus and your mindset changes. Your body, like the way you move change, the way you interact with people change. A lot of times in the NFL, Harrison, you might take your, everything's based around football, whether it's family vacations or whatever, or last little kind of hurrah. Like,
right.
I'd go back to Minnesota and see my friends and stuff, but everything's based on when training camp is. And that's why they always say you got to have a good support system. Sometimes, I want to go hang out with, I got a couple best friends, Jamal and Sam and stuff like that. They might have had stuff going on, but they know, look, I'm coming back this weekend because I need to make sure if we have too good of a time, I got to make sure I get that out of my system and I got to get back on track before I go to training camp. Because I'm not working out hard the day before training camp or 2 or 3 days before training camp. I might do some touch-up stuff. And that's just, where it's at. And that's why football's in there because, I'll say this, and this is what I mean. You're asking, what does it really mean? Okay, so, my fuse is going to be shorter. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might think like, oh, he's spaced out. Nah, I'm thinking about some stuff that you might not want me to articulate to you. You know what I mean? I'm starting to get ready to go into training camp. And people don't, and granted, I can't say people don't understand because I can't expect them to understand. It's something that only few and far between have ever been able to experience, right? What you go through to play professional sports and play a, somewhat quote unquote combat sport, collision sport, as it says, like football, is as much mental as it is physical and lifting and trying to get your arms big and get all and lean. It's more mental. Because as much as you know that you're ready to go, you have that, okay, am I in the best shape? Am I going to, did I lose a step? Have I gotten better? Has everybody else gotten better? All the goals that you might write down or have, like, now guys don't write down goals. They just put it, in their notes in their phone and, all that stuff. Will I be able to achieve it? Is there going to be other factors in it? It's a long season. You have to pace yourself, but you can't hold back. It's a constant back and forth mental, and then you're going into a very physical, obviously they take care of them a little bit more now, but you're going into a very physical demanding 6-7 months.
Yeah.
It's every day,
Especially those last few months.
right? So you got to think, if you start, okay, you're not hitting in July, so let's just say from August, September, October, November, ideally if it's December. So that's 5 months that is getting after. And now if you really get into college football playoffs, you go into 6 months. And it's physical. So yeah, you can taper back in practice, but everything you do is physical. And what I mean by that, Harrison, is like how you operate, how you're in football mode. You're a football player 24/7, 365. Now when you get into like season mode, then I'm probably just not. I probably, wasn't the funnest to be around. You know what I mean? Here's a funny thing. I remember meeting Sugar Shane Mosley. He is the boxer. So Jason Simmons, who was a teammate of mine in Houston, he's actually coaching for the Washington Commanders now. He was great. He was a jack of all trades. He was our Swiss Army knife, but he had the best personality because he had no problem when we were down in Vegas for this fight to go up and talk to, Denzel and introduce himself. And so we met Sugar Shane Mosley down in Vegas, and he knew Sugar Shane based on his prior relationship with a former teammate that was like in his management group. So we went and saw Sugar Shane Mosley before he was about to fight. I think he fought De La Hoya. So he was like, hey, it was one of his big fights. And we went to his suite, and it was like a suite to me is like, you got a nice bed, and then you might have like a little sitting there. This was like, a whole apartment, right? So we walk into where he's at, and we walk in there, and I was like, where is he? Well, we meet him out in like kind of this like meeting area, and he's like, I'm going in here to, to where I'm going to hang out for a while. It's pitch dark. And we had the conversation, just kind of meet and greet, and he explained it. He sat in there in complete darkness, pretty much,
just to lock in.
To lock in. And he's like, we were like, not saying anything. He's like, yeah, the things that he was saying, yeah, he's like, I'm trying to break his ribs. I'm trying to do this. I want that eye socket. He's like, he's like, that's what he started to think about. So when you think about back when, I'm only going to go off of like the guys that I know, and this is not referencing the 90s, but this is what I know. Okay. Playing on defense with the guys that I played on, I know exactly what their mindset was. Every to a T. Even though we had pretty boys defensive backs, I know what they were made of. They might not have been thinking on the same levels like Jason and Christian Peter and all them, but they were thinking you were like Tony Veland. He was trying to destroy you. Mike Menner was trying to do the same. All those guys. So we were all on the same wavelength. But the C Sugar Shane Mosley, now obviously he's going into a one-on-one
real combat
in front of thousands of people and broadcasted throughout the whole world. But that gives you a little bit of a glimpse on what you have to go into, the mindset you have to go into when you go into training camp. And it was a crazy experience. Now we only were in there for like 10 minutes, but it was just him and I think it was his trainer. And they were just talking back and forth. And it was like
sitting in the dark.
Yeah. And the thing is, he didn't move because he wanted, like, it was like as he got closer to the fight, he didn't want to expend any wasted energy. Like just locked in there. And you know what's also funny, you know, Christian McCaffrey, I mean, it was all over the internet. He just got married this weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And listen, Harrison, if you ever get married, I think I'm gonna be the black version of Greg Olson. Did you see the picture of Greg Olson? I mean, listen, if you ever see if there ever was a guy that is the epitome of I'm in your wedding party, I'm here to party,
Olson.
Did you see him?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody else still had I think they were wearing tux or suits, right? Pull up, right? And but Greg Olson had his untucked hair. I mean, he looked like he had been on his, you know, binger the night before, and all that. But Christian McCaffrey, if you listen to him from a very early age, his dad set forth the path of how to prepare to be the elite athlete, right? And so one of the funny stories was what he used to wear to school on the day of the game, right? I think he didn't allow him, Harrison, to wear jeans because it felt like it would weigh down on his legs, and so his legs would be tired. I think he wore sweats and loose-fitting clothes. You know, he did all that type of stuff. He was preparing him to be the best athlete that he could be. Now, was it at that time probably a little bit overboard? Maybe thought of, but guess what? Christian McCaffrey would tell you he wouldn't be where he's at right now if he didn't have that type of process, how to train, what you ate.
And there's a guy right there too.
Yeah. See, look at Greg. Look, I mean, actually, I mean, when we look at it, Harrison, I mean, obviously Christian McCaffrey, I think that's obviously his wife, right?
Yeah.
And I got his fullback is right there, Jusek, and you got George Kittle, who's a part, and then Kyle Shanahan is trying to be undercover FBI agent with the mustache. And there's Greg Olson, and I don't know, and they obviously played together in Carolina, but Greg Olson, I'm assuming, was in the wedding party, but if not, he was at the party. He was at the
he
wedding.
Definitely was at the party.
But Greg Olson does not have. Look, both of them, all of them have their bow ties on, right? Greg Olson does not have his bow tie on, shirt untucked. Hair is
disheveled.
Definitely has been out in the sun, and he is the epitome of I'm here to party, and I'm here to have a good time. But anyways, bring it back to Christian McCaffrey. It's in his, you know, dad Ed, and obviously we've had Luke here, and all of them are great athletes. Along with the mom, is that the dedication it takes to get prepared to play. And it's those little things that people don't really realize of, okay, do I wear loose fitting clothes and all that? Because he wanted to be at the best. And he had to go to the point where he had to put some weights in his pockets to weigh in because he had to hit certain benchmarks. And so, you know, that's where a lot of athletes are at. And I'm assuming Nebraska and their players are starting to get to that mode. I mean, I'm sure they're still working out, but also they're, you know, it's kind of like almost sending them off to, you know, boot camp.
Yeah.
And those, look, 6 weeks of training camp in the NFL was like boot camp. I'm sure now they get full days off and all this other stuff, but you know, 2 days is no joke, man. I mean, it's more mental, and it's not. And the thing is, it's a hard thing to really put a pin on because some guys are in survival mode, right? And then you can't be in survival mode because you have to constantly find ways to battle through, push yourself, get better. That's the opposite. But to the naked eye, you can't tell. It's a individual choice. Because if you're out there in survival mode, are you really in tuned in the game? Are you really just trying to get through that period, that section of practice, you know, that week of practice? Well, if you're just in survival mode, you have, you know, as a player, and I would just say you have a whole team of survivor guys in survival mode during training camp. Well, when you get into like a a white knuckle game, a real crucial point, that's what you go back to. That's why you have to be able to push yourself mentally through those hard days, because it sucks, right? It sucks going to be out here. It's going to be 100 degrees a day, in practice. Your head's going to be hurting. You're going to be going against the same guys, but you're going to have to find a way to do everything you're supposed to and practice with the intention of getting better. You have the right intention, then you end up getting something out of it. Versus if you go through survival mode, then you could possibly set yourself up for failure or miss out on a little detail that you might need to pull out a victory again on the road, at home, or just a crucial game to get you over the hump individually, right? Or collectively as a player. So that's the crucial part, not only for individual players, it's the leadership. It's also coaches are going to be dependent on it and trying to push it, but they can't control it. That's why I always say, that's why, Coach Rule and every coach will tell you, look, the best teams are player-led teams.
Well, yeah, especially you got one coach just showing up.
Yeah, and you know what?
Talk about that.
Yeah, thanks for the softball, and hopefully I hit it out of the park. We're going to dive into Coach Butler and obviously the resignation of Coach Cooper. But we're going to take a quick break. This is Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging. Jay Foreman, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. We'll be right back.
You're spending $300 a month. Binge drinking is the most common form of excessive drinking, which costs the United States more than $191 billion each year. By drinking less, you will save $300 a month. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Or wanting a new scene? The electrical workers of local union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old-fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
All right, it's time for Final Jeopardy. It's been a tight contest today that all comes down to this final question. No summer picnic or family get-together or trip to the lake is complete without this particular item. Let's go first to Bob.
What is beer?
No, that's not it. Think about the kids. Over to you, Farley.
What is corn on the cob?
Tough to grill that on a boat. Wrong again. Grace, this time for the win.
What is Bure's cheese spread?
We have a winner! Bure's cheese spread, available in most local grocers in Nebraska. For over 15 years, Integrated Life Choices has empowered individuals with disabilities in Lincoln and throughout Nebraska. They provide comprehensive services from group homes and independent living services to job training, ensuring fulfilling lives for those that they serve. Now, they're inviting you to join their mission. If you're passionate about making a difference in the lives of people with developmental disabilities, explore rewarding career opportunities with them. Learn more about their services and apply today at www.ilc.net. Be a part of Integrated Life Choices, where your work truly changes lives. Are you or someone you love struggling with substance use? The Bridge Behavioral Health in Lincoln offers outpatient therapy for those 19 and over. The Bridge is conveniently located in the South Haymarket and near city bus lines. With payment options through insurance and a sliding fee scale, services are available for any adult 19 and over seeking help. Call 402-477-3951 to learn more or schedule your appointment today. The Bridge Behavioral Health is a local substance use treatment facility offering hope and a solid foundation for recovery through substance use treatment and behavioral health interventions. Your business runs like a well-oiled machine. It's important that your actual machines do too. Stern is here to make sure you don't have to worry about that. They provide solutions for heavy equipment and automotive fuels, lubricants, and equipment guard options. And with Stern's commitment to customer service for the past 40 years, you know you have a partner to help support your operations for years to come. Contact Roger at Stern Company by calling 1-800-477-2744 or visit them online at stern.co. Stern Company, where problems meet solvers.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Back to Inside the Huddle, sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging. Here is your host, Jay Foreman.
What up? We're back. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. Call, reach out to Dr. Raza, Dr. Finn. They will take care of you of all your imaging needs. And then also, when the time permits, they will put together a clear and detailed path of better days for you. But Harrison dropped the nugget. I wouldn't even say a nugget. It's actually the elephant in the room. Obviously, over the weekend, it's widely known, obviously, Nebraska's former defensive back coach, Evan Cooper, resigned. And then very shortly, I think within 24 hours, Nebraska had worked towards and essentially have hired his replacement, and Coach Butler, that comes from the NFL stock, right? And I think there might have been some crossover, or obviously they know Coach Rule knows him. Obviously, to make this hire, he probably feels very comfortable with him. I can't speak for him. I'm just going on assumptive that when you hire somebody that quickly, you'll know more about him. I think he coached at Penn State.
Yeah, I can pull up his history, but I think he did.
I think he coached at Penn State in around 2010 on the Bill O'Brien staff, which was obviously a very unique staff, considering when Bill O'Brien took that job over, it was almost like Penn State was on the death penalty, and obviously from the Joe Paterno and Sandusky scandal. And so it took a lot of guts to take that job. And that's what Coach Butler's from the Philly area. Went to high school with Coach Sean McDermott, who's the head coach at Buffalo Bills. And so he did a really good job at Penn State as far as they were very competitive from the very get-go. You have to be a very good teacher and a very good coach, because they had Harrison scholarship penalties, and then they just weren't able to recruit the top-notch talent at that point in time that they needed. So he was making making a lot out of the stuff that he was, allowed to work with as far as the athletes and being able to develop kids. And then he parlayed that into, coaching down there with my Houston Texans, and then obviously with Buffalo the last few years as well. And the one thing that I do know is that, talking to different people, he's very smart. He's very detailed. He's all ball, which is great. I'm sure he has, the ability to recruit. Obviously, I would say this. I'm not everybody's saying that recruiting is different than obviously 10 plus years ago. But I would say this is hopefully his experience of recruiting while at Penn State, where you got to be able to sell something, right? Penn State, that you don't know what they were going to what the outcome was going to be in 2 or 3 years, and how many players you're going to lose, once the whole thing blew up. So you have to have, I'd like to think you have to have some sort of personality that's sellable to get kids to stay that stayed, and then get kids to invest in your coaching. And in Penn State, because Penn State was not what Penn State is now. Penn State was not a place like, oh yeah, that's a blue blood. I want to, because you just think like, hey, is this a systematic thing? Is this a culture thing? So what I'm saying is this: he had to have some unique ability to sell Penn State, sell himself as a coach, to get parents to trust him to develop his kid or their kids on and off the field, but then also getting the players to trust him as a coach. And he had some success there as far as coaching DBs and their where they were giving up yards per play. And obviously Bill O'Brien obviously parlayed that into going into the NFL, and obviously that's where he went, right, with Bill O'Brien down there to Houston. And it takes a big jump to go from coaching college kids, right, college athletes, to pro athletes, because you're going to be coaching some guys that have been around a lot longer than you. Some of them might be as old as you, because I think Kareem Jackson and those guys were still there, and then also where they their pay stubs are a little bit higher than you, and so you have to be able to earn their trust, but it's a different trust. And that trust is from a pro athlete standpoint. It doesn't matter if it's a college coach or a previous coach with a lot of pro experience, but more, I'll talk in particular my experience with a college coach. A college coach coming to the pros. When Greg Williams took over, Miles Aldridge came in. He was a linebacker coach, came straight from college. He knew Greg somehow, and as much as he was able to come in and have free reign on, he could probably cut all of us if he wanted, but he wouldn't have a job. But as much as we had to earn his respect, he had to earn ours about twice as much. That's at the pro level. What did Miles do? He tread water softly. He was open and honest as much as he could. And he asked questions because he wanted to learn how we learned. He wanted to learn how we viewed different schemes. And then he equated it all. And then he actually, as he went on and during the season and years, he got better. And then he became more personable. Then guys started to play a little bit more for him. So I think, for Coach Butler, for him to make that transition, he had to go through that, right? And he was successful there because Houston, when Bill O'Brien was there, was a playoff team, and they played pretty good defense, especially more on the back end than in the front end. But when you got J.J. Watt and all that, but still, you got to be able to cover guys. You got to be able to get guys off the field, and you got to be able to, in this day and age, which is always going to be in the NFL or free agency, is you got to be a good teacher. You got to be an effective communicator. You got to be able to adjust your styles based on if Harrison comes in or Jay Foreman comes in. And then also you have to be able to study different guys and be able to, I guess, have a Rolodex of people that you can call to ask about said player that's coming in. Because what happens in the pros is you might start out with your 10 guys in your DB room, right? Your 10 guys that, play, or and 8 that usually suit up. Well, just say you get a rash of injuries. Somebody gets, back then, you got popped for, say, like weed test or something. Well, here comes, Jay and Harrison coming in. I might be on the practice squad. You might be on the active roster. Well, you have to be able to not only handle the guys that are going to be playing, but then also get us up to speed in different techniques, different communication styles, different personality styles. And you got to do it on the fly. And that's the only way you're able to survive and be a well-respected coach at the next level. Then he takes that after Bill O'Brien leaves, obviously coaching changes, and then he goes to Buffalo with Sean McDermott. And then obviously they knew each other from going to the same high school. And Sean McDermott obviously comes from Jim Johnson, a longtime defensive coordinator, well respected in Philly. And, they were really, really good on the back end in Buffalo for years, with Poyer and all those guys. And they had different body types, and they really used what they really, really did when I was studied Buffalo on defense. Now, we won't get into what happened against Kansas City down there with 13 seconds left. I want to ask it. You know what? If I get him, and I'm not going to ask him on air, but if I'm going to pull him aside. Look, hey, bro, there's 13 seconds left. I don't care if they got Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, and all that 13 seconds left. You didn't cover Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill. What was the coverage? No, just playing.
It'd be a good question because, it's, if I remember rightly, it was just really soft up front. They had everybody back deep, and then they just chipped away to get the field goal range.
It was wide open.
Yeah. Underneath was wide open the entire time.
And then Tyreek Hill, you do not want to give any space.
Yeah.
And so
it'd be a good question.
Yeah. Now, it might be a good question after a couple successful years, and we got a couple Brewskis in it. So I don't think it's that you're welcome to Nebraska. This is a former player asking you a question about when he probably indirectly didn't have or directly have any effect on it. But
he might flip it on you too and be like, how would you guard Tyreek? Then you can have a real good answer.
Well, I would have probably played a little underneath coverage and a little top-down coverage.
All right. 2 years.
Yeah.
And a Brewski.
Yeah. Because I would have let you could hand the ball off all you want. Tyreek Hill ain't going to be. Nah, anyways. And so for him to go up there, and I think I was watching a video of him when he first got to Buffalo, and he was excited to learn, different techniques and coaching styles from Coach McDermott. Obviously, even though they knew each other or knew of each other going to the same high school. And then he was very successful up there. And, they had, there was a little bit of a defensive coordinator change. Sean McDermott took the bull by the horns, that named himself defensive coordinator, which I thought was a big risk because one of the things that everybody said for Sean McDermott, he needed to be a better job of being a CEO of coach. Obviously, Buffalo ended up winning the AFC East again, and the defense was pretty good. And obviously was able to do different things with the injuries, a plethora of injuries this year. And so he was, or Coach Butler was, out of football, I guess, in theory, until the opportunity came.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing I was told us that, from the people that know of him, they said, listen, he's well respected, very smart, intense, will hold guys accountable. And they said, the one thing that really rang true for me is that getting this type of hire this late in the game is more than the best that you can do.
Yeah, with the timeline that you're putting up front, definitely feels like we could have done a lot worse. I'm okay with the hire, especially getting in there quick. Any worry though? You hinted at it before. 2013, last time coaching college football. Any concerns with that? Because it's so weird because the jump to the college level to the NFL seemed like the harder one, but now with NIL and everything going on, I don't know if the jump from the NFL back to college is harder.
Yeah, I think it's more of I don't think if dealing with these kids, I think he's maybe more in tune with them because he's dealing with a lot of these young punks that came into his defensive backgrounds. Because here's also you have to think of is when I was in the NFL, you didn't have this many younger guys. And the way it is now, you have probably 2 or 3 guys that make a lot of the money. And then so you're constantly having minimum salary guys in there. So that's where a lot of these guys are coming in. And so it's either draft picks or guys you pick up at street free agents or, middle of the range, kind of, nickels and specialty guys. I call them a la carte, contracts, okay, we'll get a nickel guy, he can play special teams, so forth and so on. So I think he probably is a little bit closer to understanding because he's probably dealt with a lot of these guys that are coming in, from the college ranks, NIL and all that. Now, I think the biggest transition for him is here's the difference of coaching in the NFL. In the NFL, you only get to choose players in the draft. Free agency, generally, the players choose you if they have options. In college, it's all recruiting. And it's constant recruiting. It's recruiting, going out and recruiting the coaches that believe in you, right? Now, I'm sure he's still, from being from Philly and coming up through the ranks in college, he has a good bandwidth of respect and coaches that he knows, right? He's a lifer. This dude's a coach. This isn't a guy that you said, hey, I just saw him at the mill. Hey, you coached, down there at Lincoln Youth Football. You want to come coach? I mean, the dude knows people, right?
Yeah, so if he's recruiting, he's got some coaches he can call.
He know, and he knows. He knows people, and people know him. That's more importantly. People know him, and up and down the coast and everything where he's been. And even when you're coaching in the pros, you have access to high school coaches. They'll be at Houston. You'll meet them. Especially in Texas.
Yeah,
because they think they pro coaches down there in Houston. So I think that'll be okay. I think the only thing that's different is like I said, it's constant recruiting now. And it's different than 2013 because of NIL. And now they have unlimited transfers now where okay, we got to recruit. First of all, you got to get here and recruit the guys that are on the roster right now. And it's two different types of guys on the roster right now. Guys that that you've been told that you're going to need to play, right? It's not changing anything for like Gifford and those guys. They got to play. They know the defense.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, they probably know the defense better than he does, or the coverages, right? They should.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd hope so. They've been there.
So those are the guys you got to recruit. Right now, you gotta also come in and establish your respect and what you're because you're the coach, right? And you're the authority figure, so you got to establish that. But you also got to go about it the right way, and that's a unique process that he's probably been through before. Then you got to re-recruit and continue to re-recruit the guys that are either your second, third, and guys that are on the roster as well. Because you want to make sure that those guys, like Coach Rule said, look, you're all Nebraska, you're my guys. I'm not going to run you off. And then he also has to come in and fairly evaluate those guys and see if they're his type of players or what they do well and what they don't do well. And then also continue to develop them. That's all in this first, he ain't getting no sleep.
Yeah,
yeah.
No. You said it. Football's in the air.
Yeah.
So he's got to go quick.
Yeah, and he's going to be on having no-dos or 5-hour energy sponsorship. So if you got to get him or coffee, get him he's going to be up doing all that stuff. And then on top of it, he's got to get his head wrapped around, which, you know what, they had an assistant defensive back coach. They have recruiting, departments that are huge. So the transition will be easier. So then he's got to get his head wrapped around with, NCAA compliance as far as recruiting, which is pretty lax right now, as we've seen. But you got to get you got to get that. You might have to take some certifications and all. You got to do all the stupid stuff.
Yeah, paperwork, whatever.
Paperwork. Get your recruiting area. Then you got to start making phone calls. Then you got to introduce yourself to the coaches that was previously recruited, or if it's a switch on, this is not just with him. Say he focuses in an area that somebody else usually was at, and he has maybe more strength there. Either you start him there, do you kind of send him where Evan was? You got to do all that stuff, and then you got to get into the playbook, right? Then you got to get into the staff, right? Then you got to get to know the staff, right? Then you got to get to know the other players. Then you got to, get to know Coach White because you want to be an extension of him, right? And that's just part of coaching. Why are these guys, highly compensated? Because of what I just said. And then you got to get to coaching and getting into the mode of we're getting ready for UTEP, right? So you go from, and I will tell you this, I don't know him personally. I know of him. I know the personality type that he is. He wasn't just sitting at home eating, Debbie donuts and coffee and sleeping in, and then said, you know what, I'm going to start playing Call of Duty. That's not him. That's not his personality. And that's not what I've been told that he's like. What he's like, he was getting prepared for his next opportunity, but then also still in coach's mode, still looking at tape, still breaking down players. Still, you know what I mean? Because I'm sure he's at different places that he might be able to try to go to next year. Obviously, he came to Nebraska. It's great for Nebraska. So that's what he's been doing. Now, is it the same intensity? No, but this isn't going cold turkey into football mode. And that's why he was such a quick hire, because I'm sure Coach Rule knows his personality, knows him, knows of him. And that's how you're able to fill a spot this quick with a, I wouldn't call it a unique opportunity. I would just say a unique example of timing of resigning 3 weeks before camp and able to replace him within 24 hours with this type of resume. Now it's got to all come together. And I will say, I'm going to leave you with this before we go to break and come back real quick. This is what I was told by, oddly enough, Jerry Richardson and Jerry Jones, when I was at Harvard, they came in and did this. And we were talking, they were talking about certifications, like they were talking about doctors and stuff like that, right? They said, listen, the certification doesn't make the doctor makes the certification. So the resume is great. That's because he's done it. Now we just need him to come in and make make the resume. And you do that, and then you're just fine, because it could be a diamond in the rough, but it's going to take some time. And you got to give, look, you want a veteran coach that has a good personality, one thing about Rule, look, you can say, I don't care what anybody says. He's a football coach. Dude loves football. I mean, you can't deny that, right? And he knows a lot of people. It'd be very hard for me, Harrison, as a head coach, and I know a lot of people, to say, okay, I can make a decision that quick. Now, if it was something coming down the pipe, you already did it. I'm just going off what I know. And so, if you have that people and have, you always want to be, have a plan A, plan B, and then you want to have that emergency plan. And so, look, we'll see where it goes, but only time will tell. But we're going to take a quick break. Inside the Huddle, Jay Foreman, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging. We'll be right back. This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
The weather is hot, the kids are out of school, and you're on your way to the lake and summer road trips. Are you getting to your vacation spot comfortably, or is your car letting you down? Mullen Motors Lot is full of great vehicles to take home, so you don't have to worry about your current car barely surviving another road trip. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride for summer road trips and beyond. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
You don't just get a great workout, you get a great perk out, because your membership is packed with perks. For $1 down and $24.99 a month, you'll get perks like access to any of our 2,400 clean and spacious locations. Bring a friend anytime and both work out with tons of equipment that'll give you that big fitness energy. Relax in the Black Card Spa and more. Work out and perk out with the PF Black Card. Join for just $1 down and $24.99 a month. Hurry, this deal ends soon. See Home Club for details.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
For over 15 years, Integrated Life Choices has empowered individuals with disabilities in Lincoln and throughout Nebraska. They provide comprehensive services from group homes and independent living services to job training, ensuring fulfilling lives for those that they serve. Now, they're inviting you to join their mission. If you're passionate about making a difference in the lives of people with developmental disabilities, explore rewarding career opportunities with them. Learn more about their services and apply today at www.ilc.net. Be a part of Integrated Life Choices, where your work truly changes lives.
Problem gambling is not just a financial issue. It's an emotional problem with financial consequences. If your loved one is struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
Hello.
Angela, we have to break up.
But why?
Because you're a robot and I'm just a guy trying to get better internet.
It's Aloe Fiber, isn't it? I always knew you wanted faster speeds. My contract isn't good enough for you.
Face it, Angela. They let me talk to real people.
Press 4 to break my heart. Oh wait, you already did.
Visit allofiber.com to switch today.
Soulful Casino in Havelock is a family-owned business, providing incredible food and service that'll have you craving more with every bite. Soulful Casino offers everything from pulled pork to fried chicken, catfish, ribs, and even quesadillas. You want sides? They've got them. From fries, green beans and baked beans, to collard greens, potato salad, and sweet dill corn. Stop by for lunch as they have specials Tuesday through Friday from 11 to 2 p.m. That's Soulful Casino, located in Havelock, where every bite you take fills the soul. You don't think about your roof very often, but you should never take it for granted. Roofing Service Company takes every measure to provide you with the highest quality roofing solutions. Whether it's a new roof installation, roof repair, or a re-roofing project, their overall goal is to provide you with a pleasant experience and a long-lasting roof. If you have a need for siding or gutters, they're your place too. Visit roofingservicecompany.com for more info today.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
You're listening to Inside the Huddle with Jay Foreman, sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging.
What up? We're back. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. All your needs. I would tell you, listen, I'm a creature of habit, you know? It's sad to say that I love everybody over at AMI, Advanced Medical Imaging. But I think it's a little bit of a problem when they know, oh, you're back? Yeah, I'm back. And you're going to continue to see me too. But anyways, that was a good segment in there on the new hire for, Nebraska. And look, the only time will tell. And there's nothing I don't need to I'm not getting into the stupid stuff. What you're not. Listen, it could happen all the time. I mean, when I was in what team was I? I think I was with Buffalo. And we just had a coach that, just got tired of it. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a scandal or anything. He said, I'm done playing. I've coached 20 some years. He's a D-line coach. He's great. He had energy for days. Before our last meeting, we're going to play. We're actually going to play Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Or actually it's before the last regular season game. We knew where we were going. He's like, I'm retiring. I'm done. I'm resigning. I'm done. Right? Rusty Jones, who's one of the first of all, when they ran the K-gun offense, that's pretty much the hurry up offense with Buffalo with Jim Kelly and them. Rusty Jones came up with the workouts to make sure that the linemen and everybody could keep up. He's great. So I'm leaving to go to Houston. Rusty stayed there a couple more years with Greg, and we kept in contact because I would always pick his brain about ideas because I really liked his workouts. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to retire. I'm going to move up to Cape Cod. So Cape Cod, the reason why it was really funny because he asked me what my drink was I liked, and I didn't drink in in college. Definitely didn't in high school, but not in college. Yeah. But I got introduced to, that was like vodka cranberry. He's like, oh, that's a Cape Codder. I guess that's where it started. That's where he's from. He's like, yeah, I'm going to go retire up there, Listen, he's at the height of his, he's more than double tenured. He's been at Buffalo forever. Next thing you know, he's up there. He decides to walk away with a year or two left on his contract. Right? Decides to walk away, resigns. Right? Everybody's in an uproar because Rusty was so well respected. This is why our Coach Rule always says the weight coach is so important. He's the one that's around you the most. He knows how much he can push you.
He's your off-season coach, right? Is that safe to say?
Yeah. And so he's the one that I would lean on and say, okay, what's the personality of Harrison? Well, when he leaves, that's a big part of your organization. And somebody that's been to Super Bowls and Bruce Smith talks about him, when they did the 30 for 30 of Bruce Smith and all that, talk about with the stair stepper and Thurman Thomas and all that. And he leaves your organization, right? Resigns. Well, he got up there and had too many Cape Codders. I think the winner got to up there a little bit. He got bored. Next thing you know, he comes back and he's with Chicago the year that they go to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Then he goes from there to Indianapolis. He's back in the game. So just because people resign doesn't mean that they're off the beaten path. So I'm not going to, hey, you got personal stuff, handle that. Everybody's got it. But hope everybody had a good 4th. Enjoying your last day before you actually probably have to go back and be, regular. But if you have any leftovers, this is your last day. It is your last day. If you have any leftovers from July 4th after today, we're not gonna shame you, but we're gonna give you the side eye.
You better put them back on that grill. Heat them back up.
Yeah, well, you better put them in the microwave and put them in an extra 20 seconds. You gotta kill all that. Anyways, appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll see you next week. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. We'll holler at you next week.